Hello everyone and welcome to the 6-Yard Workshop. Today I'm going to show you how I made this hanging plant stand for only $25. And it's amazing how something so simple can transform an entire room. So the first thing you're going to need is lumber. This is called pallet stock. I buy it at my local sawmill for $4 a board. 1x8x8, it's a pretty good deal. If you guys don't have a local lumber mill or you're not sure where to get your wood, Home Depot actually sells things just like this. They're a little bit more expensive. And if you want some that are already planed, that's not an issue either. They sell them pre-planed. After that, you're going to need some rope. This stuff's fairly cheap, about 50 cents a foot. You're going to need a drill and an impact, a circular saw, a speed square, and a couple bits and a couple fasteners. So since the window I'm hanging in is 4 feet, that actually makes my life easy. I'm just going to cut these things down to 4 feet. We're going to have 4 shelves stacked on top of each other. I totally botched the shot of myself cutting the lumber, but just know I cut them into 4-foot pieces. To drill the holes, I'm using a Forstner bit. Forstner bits are known for giving a much cleaner cut, even though they're a little bit more expensive than spade bits. And since I'm using 1/2 inch rope, I'm going a step up and I'm using a 5/8 inch bit. To mark where the holes would go, I measured 8 inches in from the edge with a tape measure, while simultaneously using my speed square to measure 1 inch in from the side. Instead of marking all 4 holes on every board, I only marked the top board and I stacked all 4 boards on top of each other. And when I drilled through the top board, I made sure that I went into the second board, even if it's just like 1/8 of an inch, so I'd have a reference point for where to drill the hole on the board underneath. To find out how much rope I needed, I measured from the ceiling to the bottom of the windowsill. This isn't going to be exact, but it's going to get me close enough, and if it's too long, there's a trick that you guys will see once I hang it. So I just went upstairs, I took a measurement from the ceiling to where I want the bottom of the last shelf to be, which is 5 feet. That'll give you a rough estimate of how much rope you need. So we're going to go through here, up, attached to the ceiling, and back down. So I'm going to need minimum 20 feet. Preferably a little bit more than that. I'm not sure if I have 20 feet, so this is going to be really interesting. The best way I found to do this is to actually keep your rope in one piece. You don't want to cut it until you absolutely have to, which is kind of unfortunate when you're trying to thread 100 feet of rope through something, but it's better than not having enough rope because you cut it too short because you can't reattach rope. So we're going to start I think we're going to do the rougher weathered side on the top, and we'll put the nice pine on the bottom. I just think this matches the house a little better. So you put your rope through your hole. We're just going to tie a square knot. I better look that up, it might not be a square knot. And the knot is going to hold the weight of the shelf and all the plants. So to make sure that all your knots are tied evenly, I'm going to be using a tape measure, and I'm going to tie the knots within 12 feet of each other. So you have to feed it through, right? You tie your knot, then you're going to tie a second knot, and then you're going to feed the entire spool through the next hole in the next shelf, and continue on until you have basically a rope parabola upside down holding your shelves together. So my apologies if that didn't make sense. I don't know what that guy was smoking. Basically, tie a knot, feed it through the hole, 12 inches, you tie another knot, feed that through the next shelf, and you're going to continue on and on and on with this pattern until you get through all 4 shelves. So now that I have all the shelves together in one series of holes, I need double the height. So this will be 3 feet. I need an extra 24 inches. And that's where it's going to hang in the ceiling. So we're actually going to do 24 inches up and then 24 inches back down before we continue tying on the other side. So again, I used the tape measure and the China pencil. Measured 48 inches, so 24 up, 24 down. Made a mark, fed the rope through the board, and tied a knot at the mark. Then I just kept going with the knot tying every 12 inches on the second set of holes. Now this is sped up, but I wanted to let you know I'm human too. If you're watching closely, you can actually see the mistakes I made, where I would tie the knot before putting it through the board, basically putting the knot on the wrong side of the hole. I would say throughout this whole project, I probably had to untie and retie at least 10 knots.
So at the end of the rope, I'm cutting about 1 inch to 2 inches off the last knot. Always cut away from yourself. And I'm wrapping it in electrical tape. So the trick to doing this is to first tape over the frayed ends, like this. Just squeeze it together, nothing really too important. Then get about 6 inches. And I start at the bottom. And this tape is stretched so you can pull it a bit. So I pull and wrap at the same time. Et voila! That's it.
From there, I just did the other side, paying extra attention to make sure that the knots on this side are the exact same distance away from each other as they were on the first side. If not, you're going to have a lopsided shelf.
Sorry about the audio, guys. That's my furnace going in the background. That's where my shop is. Beggars can't be choosers. But I put some hooks up here, strong enough to hold a person, and I'm going to hang this and make sure that everything is perfect before I go upstairs and hang it, because last thing I want to do is take it up there, hang it, realize something was wrong, and have to bring it back down. So fingers crossed. That's cool. So you can't really see it, but everything looks pretty level for ropes. Obviously this is going to go in front of a window, and my ceiling is 1.5 feet taller upstairs, so I think this will look pretty nice.
I figured this thing would be pretty heavy, covered in plants, so I didn't want to use any drywall anchors, no matter how strong they claim to be, since my ceiling joists are running parallel to the wall, and I didn't want the shelf to be hanging 16 inches off the wall. I cut up some scraps 16 inches long. I screwed one end into the ceiling joist. I screwed the other end into the top plate of the wall. I could then fasten my hook into that, knowing it would be a lot stronger than drywall anchors.
Camera died, had to switch to my phone. It's the moment of truth though. It's perfect, it's just like 1 foot too low because I'm an idiot. Oh man, okay, we got time to fix it.
So to make the rope shorter without cutting it, the first thing I did was tie a knot in the loops at the top. This gave it kind of a cool aesthetic. I actually didn't mind it, but it still left it a little too long. So to raise it up another inch or two, I double looped the rope around the hook, and after that, it was sitting pretty good.
How's that look on the camera? No, I'm in the way. That's pretty good. Okay, well, I'm gonna make some benches that'll be made out of this wood for, here. So it'll tie in eventually. I'm not too concerned about that. And it's definitely gonna be able to hold all the plants. So hope she likes it.
It's crazy how something so simple like a plant stand can change the entirety of a space. But when I walk in and see all these green plants, this room looks so much more alive. It also freed up a bunch of shelf and table space throughout the house, now that most of the plants are located here. And in case you're wondering, yes, she did love it. I didn't get a chance to film her reaction, or her putting the plants on it. She did that pretty much as soon as she saw it. I feel this was a project well done. I would definitely recommend building it. And if you want to watch me build more things, subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.
So we're doing the same thing. Pull it through so I have more than 12 inches. Set the tape up. lose your China pencil, find your China pencil, and then make a mark right at the 12.